Florida State 42, Wake Forest 7. Now Lawrence Stample. He is our Florida State analyst, and he joins us here in studio. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure, especially after a win.
They started slow. It was a goose egg after 15 minutes, but then they turned it on. 14 points in the second, third, and fourth quarter to get to 42. Obviously a very consistent team. What happened to Florida State beginning in the second quarter on Saturday?
I think the momentum really shifted, and it showed throughout the game. I think Florida State, we still are struggling with being able to create our own momentum consistently, but I think when the momentum shifts, we definitely feed off of it.
Right.
Which shows what a little bit that the team is young and it's trying to find its groove, but it also shows that there's hope, and it shows that there's things going well in the locker room, and you love to see it. But yeah, it looked like we were able to start to put some things together, knock off some jitters, and it was good to see.
Well, the most promising part of all this is it's so easy to just check out, and they did not. These kids played hard for Mike Norvell.
Yeah, they did. And I think after looking at everything, it's really hard not to say, at least especially doing my job, it's hard not to say that Wake Forest did shoot themselves in the foot a few times. And I think that we were able to build off that. But one kind of consensus that you were able to see is that the offense was trying to do their hardest in order to stay on the field, and the defense was doing their hardest to get off of it. And that's what the name of the game is. And Florida State's defense looked better than they have all season as far as being able to have their matches, have their reads. There was a couple blown assignments, but for the most part, we looked disciplined, which is great.
You know, Gus Malzahn, and it's his offense, but he's been a guy, no matter where he has been, that for the most part leans on one back and really rides that back. That is not Mike Norvell. We talked about it a year ago. You go to that opener at Dublin when they scored on that first possession against Georgia Tech. He used 5 different backs. Yeah. So this is a confusing part of the scheme for me right now. They turn around and go to, Jacksonville Samuel Singleton, 14 carries, 91 yards, 6.5 and a touchdown. He's barely carried the ball all year, and he becomes the star on Saturday.
Yeah, it was great to see him. Sam Singleton, what he does well is he reads well, and he's decisive. When he makes that, but he's fast enough to be decisive. Not everyone is. So he can see it and go, which was really awesome to watch. We've seen him in the past be able to make these explosive plays. He's definitely has the most breakaway speed out of all the backs that we have. But I think a part of what Norvell's trying to do is trying to figure out who has the hot hand. And if I can try to get as many of those guys in the mix as possible, I will. It's not like the offensive line to where you can't mix and match. The running back is one of those that you can, and you can tell that he really wants to ride the hot hand.
Florida State wins in the Atlantic Coast Conference. They get it done 42-7 against Wake Forest. So they're 4-4 on the year. They're a small underdog this weekend at Clemson, which is equally one of the biggest disappointments this year, not only in the ACC, but in college football. Quite a few people thought they were a college football playoff contender and could maybe go deep into the playoffs. So where's Florida State now? I honestly think, and maybe it's the fans that are on social media, I think they're a little bit more passive, Niall, where, all right, they were upset about 4 straight losses, but I keep hearing 4 losses by 1 possession, and if they can get things rolling here during the final 4 games of the year and get to 8-4, everything's going to be okay. That's a tough putt. They can't win on the road. They haven't been able to win on the road, and 3 out of the final 4 are just that.
Yeah, they are. I think this Clemson game is going to come down to one thing Clemson is dealing with somewhat of a questionable locker room, and they're dealing with some issues there. So it's going to come down to who's more bought in. We had Tommy and a couple other players speak about how they're completely bought in. They love Norvell. And I think some of those things may have been high emotions after the game, which is great. But I think there's a lot of truth to it. And I think there is some silver lining there. So that means that if that's the case, we better see it consistently throughout the rest of this season. And if we are still bought in, I say we have a much bigger advantage going into Clemson, Death Valley, where they've struggled in Death Valley all season, us being able to go in there and hopefully have the upper hand.
When you won a national title at Florida State, you put teams away early. What's it like playing in Death Valley?
playing in Death Valley, me and you have actually spoke about it. And one thing I said is playing in Death Valley is so weird where though the swamp is large, Death Valley is so tall. So when you're playing and you're having your peripherals, all you see is orange. Orange is just all the way up. And we'll see if the stadium's like that this upcoming game, even though it is Florida State, so people are probably going to show out for it. But it is difficult to play in Death Valley, but it is one of the coolest, greatest experiences you can play, especially in the ACC. There's not a ton of those historical places like that in the ACC. I always look forward to playing in Death Valley.
Yeah,
for sure.
First time I went was in '88. I was in about the 90th row when Dion had the punt return and the Leroy Butler punt Ruski. And then when they joined the ACC, a lot of people forget this, they benched Charlie Ward in '92. They went to Danny Cannell, who threw a couple of picks, and went back to Charlie Ward, and I think he hit Dexter Carter. May not have been Dexter Carter. Might have been Tiger McMillan. Then he hit Kevin Knox. Dexter was out by then. Kevin Knox for the game winner. So, just sensational memories. I've been there 6 times and never seen Florida State lose. At Clemson. They had to fly me out for the game. but I'm going to be in Houston as well. Interesting point you made about the locker room. Dabo Sweeney's being a real baby here. I actually support his comments about officiating, but him saying to the media, fire me, I'll go somewhere else. He hasn't gotten the job done this year. He should have, in my opinion, more ownership.
Yeah, and especially I think it's with all the other issues going on in college football where some of these coaches, obviously a ton of coaches have been fired. You have Norvell on the chopping block. You have a bunch of other things going on there to where I agree there should be some more accountability because his job really isn't in question. Like it's not. Like who are they going to go out and get? Dabo has proven that he can on a regular basis, consistently for the most part. It's just this new era of college football that's giving him some struggles. He just has to get over that hump. And I think that they're willing to wait for it a little bit in order for them to do that.
All right, so where are you? Regardless of what happens here, I still absolutely am 100% behind. They have to move on from Mike Norvell. He could not be their coach in 2026. Where are you? And I understand there's still 4 games left, including 3 on the road that are difficult to play at. But where are you right now?
Norvell has a significant amount of ground to gain in order for him to even be remotely capable of taking this organization to the next level. And with that being the case, I really am still not on that train. I still, though, want to speak on I am happy that Tommy and some of these other players have spoken on Norvell because it has shown that he can be consistent to a certain content, but like realistically, if you're being consistent, and they've spoke about him being consistent on as far as giving effort, as far as talking to them and developing them, if that's the case, then you're consistently, unfortunately, not hitting the mark because we're not hitting the mark consistently. So it's like, I am happy that they're speaking on him. I'm happy that they're speaking on him in a good way, in a good light, because it can help us drive more recruits, drive more winning to a sense of turning that direction to someone else. But all in all, we're going to have to see more recruiting. We're going to have to see a lot more things before we can even consider him coming back.
Yeah, and to credit Mike Norvell, he's been the exact opposite of Dabo Sweeny. He's taken complete ownership of the problems and the losses that did occur during that 4-game streak, completely 100% against what Dabo Sweeny has done. All right, remainder of the year, whether it's personnel, whether it's scheme, I don't know, what do you want to see that maybe you haven't seen so far this year with 4 games still out there for FSU?
One thing I'm going to challenge these players to do is turn over week to week playing great defensive football. We have had a great showing versus Alabama because we had some good time to prepare. We had a bye week going into this upcoming week playing Wake Forest, and we were able to play well. It seems like turning over from week to week of the new defensive game plan has had some difficulties. I'm challenging these defensive backs, linebackers, and defensive linemen to make sure that they have this area locked in. We have to have the game plan locked in because I think if we do that, we can go into Clemson and actually have a really good game. So that's what I want to see is week over week, can the defensive game plan be implemented within enough time for them to be able to do their job because offense is going to score touchdowns.
Who would have ever thought that Alabama right now is projected as a first-round bye and an overall 4 seed in the initial college football playoff rankings that came out last night.
Couldn't have told you that first game of the season. But they've been lights out. But again, that's the climb. Does Alabama look that way without us hitting him in the mouth that first game of the year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm a Heisman voter. I'm looking at Bama. I'm looking at A&M. I'm looking at Ohio State. Looking at Indiana. Look at all 4 quarterbacks. And it's just there's the difference. Great teams have great quarterbacks, and that certainly does include the top 4 seeds who right now are projected to get a bye. Anything we forgot?
No, I'm excited to see our guys play. I love being able to watch our guys win and get excited. That's what football's about. Regardless of what's going on in the future, football is about winning. I love watching the energy that they had play. I wanted to see that on the sideline. I want to see Florida State. I want to see Doak Campbell juiced up. I want to see these boys go to Death Valley and show them that they are not some sort of whimsical team, that we are a program that can win games, especially on the road.
I want to give a lot of credit to the fans. Again, I said I think that some have been passive in, accepting what has gone on. I cannot, but they showed up for this game.
They did.
I mean, I thought it was going to be 30,000 and booing Norvell. They showed up. Got to give them credit.
Yeah, no, I'll give them a ton of credit. Doak Campbell was jumping, and I'm happy to see it. And all those fans that went out to Doak Campbell Stadium in order to actually cheer on their Florida State Seminoles, regardless of win or loss, they got to enjoy that win.
Yeah, and absolutely, I enjoyed it in Las Vegas. Kind of, I kind of wanted to see Kevin Sperry and see the future, but this team desperately needed a win, and they were able to get it in a dominant fashion, 42-7. All right, Niall Lawrence Stample won a national title at Florida State, played for the Cleveland Browns on the defensive line. He is our Florida State analyst, and he is also a business owner right here in Duval with NLS Cleaning. What's going on there?
Yeah, we're getting ready. Holiday time. A lot of our customers are reaching out to us just to get their pricing and getting their house all cleaned up for their company and guests and stuff like that coming into town. So that's been great. But you can reach out to us at 904-708-8802. We do pressure washing, gutter cleaning, window cleaning, whatever you need. You can reach out to us on our website as well at nlscleaning.net.
Yeah, and I can absolutely attest to that. Did a wonderful job power washing at my home. Great to see you.
Yes, sir, Rick.
All right, there he goes. Niall Lawrence Stample. Rick Ballou here. Thank you so much for watching 1010XL Seminoles on YouTube. Before you click away, please like and subscribe to this channel. Be sure to check out other team-specific channels on 1010XL Network and YouTube.